And I'm not trying to personalize things. I'm just trying to talk to experience and what I see because I was going somewhere with that.
Okay.
But I think that we got to get back on track. Like we're so used to like attacking, but we got to get to a pet where we're sharing information.
Nobody's see that's
We're
why
not attacking women.
You're attacking me or anything like that.
No.
We're not attacking.
When men are just when men are just telling the truth, women always personalize it like we're attacking. We're not attacking.
I wasn't saying you're attacking me. I said we're coming from. I think that when we respond,
I'm not even talking about you. I'm talking about women in general. So, when we speak.
So let me say this: when I think about my grandma, my grandma never said nothing bad about my granddaddy in our face. They might have had their arguments when we was away. My grandma never told my children nothing bad about him. Nothing. But my mama, yeah, she told us a lot of messed up stuff about our father, which made us hate our fathers.
My mother told me my father was dead.
My mama told me that my father used to beat her, and in return, I ended up beating him. And come to find out,
behind me every year, in the car with me with my grandmother, and I never knew that. That was until I was 21 to find out.
Hold on, brother. Hold on. Start over. Hold on. Bring it back. Say all that one more time.
My mother told me my father was dead. Every time I went to my grandmother's house, he was there. But they couldn't say nothing because my mother made my grandmother, in order for them to see me, because we were twins, I'm a twin, in order for them, the other family of his family to see us, they had to promise my mother that they wouldn't allow my father to see us.
Wow.
And for the sake of my grandparents wanting to see me, they went along with it. But I remember my dad being there. I know a black man sitting behind the car. And I asked, like, who's that? Oh, that's somebody, my grandmother brushed it off. And then when I got old enough, I was 13. I remember I was in Virginia. My aunt, my grandma was like, it's time to tell you. And that's how I found out. I was mad. I remember writing a letter to my dad, found out that he was in prison. And I wrote a letter to him. I was mad. Why did you leave my mother? Again, women saying this to our children, and I had to deal with that. So I knew exactly what my son was going through.
So,
and I already had been prepared for that.
And my mother was not
shit in the head to deal with as a child.
Hold on, Frank. Hold on. So your mama said your daddy was dead.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And made the family members promise.
And so my other family was like, "Oh, God was his father,"
and they just had that level of disrespect.
That's what
and trauma that causes.
So who are you hurting? The father, or are you also hurting the child? Because you're doing more damage than you think. Okay, but that's where's the accountability for the mothers for doing this though? And then when
so let me ask you this, my brother. How's your relationship with your mother now?
When I was younger, in my 13th, she had some trauma herself, and I didn't know the family history. But I love my mother. She and I were like rocks, and so I found out a lot of things happened.
So did she ever apologize?
No, we couldn't. We weren't allowed to talk about it.
So you and your mom never had a conversation about her lying about that your dad was dead?
Mom would just colorfully just wind it off. When I was in my 20s, my father lived with me for a little bit, and my mother was next door with my sister. And there was a big argument because we were in the room, and we were like, "Oh, what happened, Mom and Dad?" And it was a whole religious thing, and my mom stood by the death and all this stuff with God, and I was like, I gotta go because I can't hear this. I know it's gonna be a lie somewhere. And my sister doesn't talk to my father. She took my mother's side. They don't talk. I reconnected with my dad when I was 21. Thank you. And he and I are having a beautiful relationship. There was a point in my life where he went with somebody else and listened to some shit, and I found out about it, and it hurt me bad, and it cut us off. And I was like, all I talk to my dad is every day. And I called him out on it. And we mended the relationship. Yeah. My mom is no longer here. And so I can't talk to her about some of the childhood shit that I've went through. I've been in therapy twice for the last 6 years. And some of the stuff I'm looking for is closure. And I can't have those closures. And my therapists, I never understand why they want us to go backwards. Because I have to dig up. This last therapist, I had to dig up my family history. And I found out some stuff I didn't like. That happened, that took place on my mother's watch. And also, my dad knew, like, there's things like I didn't need to know. There's a lot of childhood trauma we need to cut. As parents, we need to stop sweeping this shit under the rug. We need to address those kind of things. If there's going to be harm and mental illness that's going to affect our children,
that's why we all messed up now.
Right, but
that's generational curses.
When we're adding that generation onto our children, are we as a family or as a parent, we're adding to that. So I vowed in my family, my kids and everything, I'm not going to continue this with them.
And that's why I'm more adamant to keep my children from that.
And I agree with you, brother. I
don't want my child to see that. Okay, I know that you, like you said, I know that you have to grow up soon. I'll talk to you then. That's why most fathers will say, I will talk to that child when he's grown or she's grown, than to stand here and have to go back and forth with the mom.
Absolutely.
And nothing happens. It's just
some suffering though with that,
and the children that's getting hurt. She's fine. She's gonna be okay.
But the child is still. Can I just interject? And I'm hearing you, brothers, and that's why I'm trying not to interrupt you in your conversation. The issue I see, one, is in women. I'm going to speak to you and I'll address you separately because we're creating additional generational curses by doing things like this. When you lie and you do not tell your children the truth, it hurts them in the long run. And it further helps you because it hurts you. You have to continue to keep a lie. And then everybody around you has to lie. Lies breeds lies. And how can you live with yourself knowing that your child is going to suffer and now they're going to be operating from a place of brokenness when they could have had their father there all along? It kind of reminds me of hearing Kurt Franklin's story last year about Father's Day and how broken he was, and now that relationship with his mother is almost irreparable.
Did you listen? That Kurt Franklin situation, man, that man had DNA evidence
twice.
And he gave the evidence to his mama and she still denied.
So